How Netflix secretly changed human attention. A few years ago, watching television was simple. People waited an entire week for a new episode. Families watched shows together at specific times. And eventually, the TV turned off. But then, everything changed. Today, millions of people sit down to watch just one episode and suddenly realize it's 4 a.m. Somehow, an entire night disappeared. And that didn't happen by accident. Because Netflix didn't just build a streaming platform, it helped redesign the way humans consume entertainment. And in the process, it changed human attention forever. This is the story of how Netflix transformed from a small DVD rental company into one of the most powerful attention machines on Earth, and why the battle for your attention is becoming more extreme every year. The world before Netflix. Before streaming existed, entertainment worked completely differently. People watched cable television, they rented DVDs, or they bought movies from stores. And most importantly, there were stopping points. When an episode ended, people waited. Sometimes for days, sometimes for weeks. That pause mattered more than people realized, because it gave the brain time to disconnect. Back then, entertainment had limits. Television channels ended programs at scheduled times. DVDs had to be physically changed. Stores closed at night. The system naturally interrupted consumption. And then Netflix arrived. The original Netflix. When Netflix first launched in 1997, it wasn't trying to dominate the internet. It was simply a DVD rental company. Instead of going to a store like Blockbuster, customers ordered movies online and received them by mail. At first, the idea sounded strange, but Netflix introduced something revolutionary. No late fees. That one decision immediately made the service feel better than traditional rental stores. Meanwhile, Blockbuster continued charging customers penalties for returning movies late. And eventually, that mistake became fatal. Netflix kept growing. Blockbuster ignored the threat, and slowly, one of the biggest entertainment companies in the world started collapsing. By 2010, Blockbuster was bankrupt. Netflix had won, but the company was only getting started. Streaming changes everything. The real revolution began when Netflix moved into streaming. Suddenly, entertainment became instant. No waiting, no stores, no DVDs. Everything was available immediately, and people loved it. For the first time in history, massive libraries of content were accessible within seconds. Netflix understood something extremely important. Convenience changes behavior. The easier something becomes, the more people do it. Streaming removed friction. And removing friction changed human habits completely. People started watching more content than ever before. Entire weekends disappeared into binge-watching sessions. And Netflix realized something powerful. The longer people stayed on the platform, the more valuable the platform became. The birth of binge-watching. Netflix didn't invent binge-watching, but it perfected it. Traditional television released episodes weekly. Netflix started releasing entire seasons at once. At first, this felt exciting. People finally had freedom, no waiting, no interruptions. But there was another effect. The brain stopped receiving natural pauses, and Netflix reinforced this behavior with one small feature: autoplay. When an episode ended, the next one started automatically within seconds. That tiny delay was intentional, because every extra second increased the chance people would continue watching. And once autoplay became normal, other companies copied it. Soon, the entire internet started optimizing for endless consumption. The attention economy. At some point, technology companies realized something terrifying. Human attention is incredibly profitable. The longer users stay online, the more ads they see, the more subscriptions they pay for, the more money companies make. And suddenly, every platform entered the same war. Not a war for products, a war for attention. Companies like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram all began fighting for as many minutes of human attention as possible. And Netflix became one of the biggest players in that battle. Because Netflix wasn't competing against television anymore. It was competing against sleep, against social media, against video games, against every other source of entertainment on Earth. How Netflix learned human psychology. Netflix became extremely good at understanding human behavior. The company studied watch patterns, pause moments, rewatches, scrolling behavior, thumbnails, recommendation systems. Even thumbnails became personalized. Different users often saw completely different images for the same show. Why? Because Netflix wanted to maximize clicks. Everything on the platform was optimized to keep people engaged for longer. The recommendation algorithm became incredibly powerful. And eventually, many users stopped choosing content themselves. The algorithm chose for them. Over time, entertainment became less intentional and more automatic. The rise of endless content. As streaming exploded, content production changed too. Companies realized viewers constantly needed something new to watch, so platforms started producing massive amounts of content. Original shows, documentaries, reality TV, crime series, true stories. The internet became flooded with entertainment. And for a while, Netflix dominated everything. The company felt unstoppable. Its stock exploded. Investors believed streaming was the future. And once again, Netflix changed the industry. Traditional media companies panicked. Soon, competitors appeared everywhere. The streaming war begins. Suddenly, giant corporations wanted their own streaming platforms. Companies launched Disney+, HBO Max, Amazon Prime Video, Apple TV+. The streaming war had officially started, and competition became brutal. Platforms spent billions creating content. Everyone wanted subscribers, everyone wanted attention, and viewers suddenly had endless choices. But this created another problem: too much content. People became overwhelmed. Scrolling replaced watching. Users spent huge amounts of time searching for something to watch, instead of actually enjoying entertainment. Attention spans start changing. Meanwhile, social media platforms evolved rapidly, especially short-form video. Apps like TikTok changed internet behavior completely. Videos became shorter, faster, louder, more stimulating. Attention spans started shrinking. And suddenly, even Netflix faced a challenge. Why watch a 2-hour movie when short videos deliver instant dopamine every few seconds? The entire internet was accelerating. Content became faster and more addictive. And now, every platform was competing for the same human brain. The dark side of endless entertainment. For many people, streaming stopped feeling relaxing. Instead, it became compulsive. People stayed awake longer, watched more content, spent more hours online. Some researchers even compared binge-watching behavior to addictive patterns, because the brain loves anticipation. And autoplay creates constant anticipation loops. One more episode, one more cliffhanger, one more recommendation, and suddenly, hours disappear. The scary part? Most people barely notice it happening. Netflix starts losing momentum. Eventually, Netflix faced new problems. Subscriber growth slowed, competition increased, content became more expensive, and investors started questioning whether Netflix could continue dominating forever. The company introduced password-sharing crackdowns. Price increases frustrated users, and some subscribers started canceling memberships. For the first time in years, Netflix looked vulnerable. But despite all the criticism, the company had already changed the world permanently. Because streaming wasn't just a trend anymore. It became normal life. The bigger problem. The real story isn't just Netflix. It's what Netflix helped create. A world where every platform competes for human attention every second of the day. Modern technology companies study psychology, behavior, dopamine, habit loops. Because attention became one of the most valuable resources on Earth. And the companies controlling attention became some of the richest companies in history. Netflix helped accelerate that transformation. The future of attention. The battle for attention is becoming even more intense. Artificial intelligence is now entering entertainment. Algorithms are becoming smarter. Recommendations are becoming more personalized. And future platforms may understand human behavior better than humans themselves. The question is no longer, what do people want to watch? The question is, how long can platforms keep people watching? And that changes everything. Ending Netflix started as a simple DVD rental company. But over time, it became something much bigger. It helped transform entertainment into an endless, algorithm-driven experience. It changed how people watch content, how companies compete, and how attention itself is monetized. Today, billions of people live inside systems designed to keep them engaged for as long as possible. And the war for attention is only becoming more aggressive. Because in the modern internet economy, human attention may be the most valuable product of all.